Hey everyone, welcome to the top 10 list. Welcome to my top 10 of my favorite South Korean movies. Holy crap, are there some great ones. I've been wanting to do this list for a long time, but I just haven't seen enough South Korean movies to do this list. I think I've seen enough to make a top 10 list, but this could be an ongoing top 10 list because there's a lot more I need to explore. There's just so much I need to dive into. I just don't have the time as of right now. But I can see in like 3-4 years from now, if I'm still running a YouTube channel, I can redo this list and do a top 10 South Korean movies. Just as of now, at this time period, these are my top 10 of my personal favorite South Korean movies. Man, there's some good ones. I have a couple of honorable mentions, just a few. I wanted to put some of these on the top 10 list, just I don't know. Again, this is a personal list, so just these movies I have on the top 10, I personally just find them more watchable, more compelling, and I just get into their stories a lot more. So, three films that almost made my list. The first one is Honorary. I know everyone would put this on here because you got Steven Yeun in the movie, who's great. It's an excellent movie, beautifully shot. It's a great story about these Koreans going to America and trying to live in the American dream and the struggles of sometimes how that is. It's damn good, very well acted. Just couldn't make the list. Another one was Aloners. Aloners is such an interesting movie. It's about a girl who works at this cubicle, and she is just very antisocial, and she just has no friends, no life. And then one day, a guy in her apartment dies. And when she finds out that he dies, she just knows that life is so fragile and so short. So she just wants to eventually live her life to the fullest and change who she is. It's an interesting and fascinating movie. And it's a great movie about loneliness and trying to go outside your personal bubble. The last movie that almost made my list was The Villainous. This is a great action thriller with amazing choreography, a great protagonist, and probably one of the most brutal third acts to an action movie I have seen. It is such a bloody good time. Definitely recommend it. Almost made the list. But here we go, top 10. Number 10 is 20th Century Girl. I love this movie. This is a great drama, romance, comedy kind of movie. These are movies that America seems they just can't do anymore. I used to love a good teen rom-com, but they just suck ass now. You get those shitty Netflix ones, but now you get this one, which is also ironically a Netflix movie. But this is great. I've never been so invested with these characters and their stories and their romance. I just don't know how South Korea does it, and just does it more compelling and more interesting job than America does. But just these characters are just so good, and they're just so interesting, and they're just so likable, and it's so endearing, and it's just so wholesome, and I just bought into it. And I've seen this movie twice, and I've always really enjoyed it. And yeah, you guys, if you have Netflix, definitely type in your search bar 20th Century Girl and watch this movie. It's actually really good. It's super funny. It's super charismatic. It's so well written. And the chemistry between the leads is just so good. It's such a great romantic comedy. And again, it's a comedy that's done properly. So check it out. Number 9 is going to be everybody's number 1 or number 2. So everyone's going to hate me for this. Oldboy. Oldboy is a great movie. If I was doing the best South Korean movies, this is number 2 or 3. Easily. It's a great movie. I have to put on this list because of just how amazing it is, how amazing the performance is, how brutal it is, how amazing the twist is, how incredibly directed this movie is. This movie is on a all new level. Even when they try to, again, Americanize it and make a remake of it, it couldn't capture what this movie did. The shock of it and just the rawness of it and just how riveting it was. It's just so fucking disturbing. It is not a pleasant movie to watch. It is not again, it's just not watchable, and it's not entertaining for me, but it's a genius movie. It's just, I don't know, it's so hard to rank a movie like this where You love how everything is made and how beautiful it's crafted. It's just vile and disgusting and just not watchable. Like, I don't ever want to watch this movie again, but I'll remember this movie for the rest of my life. So there's that. Oldboy it's an all-time great for a reason. So there you go. All right, number 8, Ditto. But a lot of people, if you're not familiar with South Korean movies, you probably never heard of this movie. This is kind of another rom-com movie, and it's a little embarrassing, I guess, but I loved it. I love this movie. I love that it's a time travel kind of movie. It's almost kind of like Your Name in a way, but this came out like 20 years ago. It's just about this like high schoolers. They communicate 20 years apart from each other through this radio broadcast. They communicate through this radio and they learn more about each other and stuff. And it's about each of their lives and each of their time zones and how they can intertwine and connect with each other. I love this movie. I love how endearing it is and funny it is, and I love the chemistry between the leads. Again, maybe I'm just a sucker for South Korean rom-coms, but man, they can do it so freaking well. And Ditto, such an underrated movie. Now we get into number 7, and we're getting back to disturbing, but number 7, The Handmaiden. Yeah, it's damn good. It's so good. It's long, and it has an important message to say, but it is not pleasant. This movie, it's not a pleasant movie. A lot of the time, it is very psychological and very disturbing. But man, are the 3 leads incredibly good in this movie. The cinematography is spectacular. The writing is great. The pacing is done very well. It is a movie like Oldboy. It will stick with you for the rest of your life. Just like Oldboy, though, I will never watch this movie again. But man, will I always remember this movie. And it's a damn banger of a movie. I put it higher on the list than Oldboy because I actually think this movie's a better made movie than Oldboy. But, again, that's subjective. Number 6, Past Lives. I talked about this. This was one of my favorite movies of last year. Yeah, last year it came out. The 2 leads, amazing. I love that it's about this story. I guess I'm a sucker for romance and stuff, but like, but these kids, they grew up with each other, and they grew up in Korea with each other, and they had this like romance, and then as time went by, they drifted apart. She moved away, but then they kind of reunited, start talking again, but then they get into an argument, and then they again they don't speak to each other, and then when they reunite again years later, she's married to an American, and he goes to meet her in the United States and to meet the husband and basically say one last goodbye to her. It's just this story of over these like decades of the 2 of them and their friendship and love for each other, and it's a great movie. It's a good story. The only issue I have with this movie is the American husband. I think he needed more, I would say screen time, but I think he needed more development because I felt like he was just there just to be like the supportive husband, which is nothing wrong with that. I didn't find him that interesting. The 2 leads, though, are fantastic. They're so good. The chemistry is so good. The writing is so good. The directing is so good. Greta Lee, man. But I wanted more with the husband character. But the movie itself is fantastic, and that's why it's number 6. It's so good. All right, top 5. Number 5 is Burning. Burning, yes, this is the Stephen Young movie I went with. I think this is better than Honorary. This is just such an intense movie. This movie is literally just about these 2 friends that grew up with each other, and the girl comes back with another guy, and his name is Ben, who's played by Stephen Young. And then the boyfriend is suspicious of this new guy. He thinks there's something up with him, and then something happens, and then there's a lot of like suspicion on each other, and it's kind of like a whodunit kind of movie. And wow, the movie keeps your interest from start to finish. The movie just keeps going and going and kind of playing mind games with you, and you just don't know where it's leading to. And where it leads to is somewhere I did not expect. This is a great movie. All the lead performances are so good. It is so, oh my god, it keeps you uneasy. and it keeps you guessing, and that's the way a thriller's supposed to do. So yeah, definitely check this one out if you're into good, deep psychological thrillers. All right, number 4, The Host. I gotta go with the Bong Joon-ho movie. Yeah, The Host. I think The Host is one of his best movies. Almost his best, actually. But I love the story about this like guy and his daughter goes like missing by this like monster that took her, and no one believes him, and no one knows what to make of this like creature that's taking people and stuff. It's a really cool like action horror monster movie. I love this movie. It had like $11 million budget, but it looks like a pretty decent sized budget movie. It has the uneasiness of like the Blair Witch Project. Like, you don't know what to believe and stuff. You don't know what's out there. The fear of the unknown, which is what I love about this movie. This movie is so good with tension. It's so good with atmosphere. It's so good with the scares. Also with the dark comedy and just these characters. Bong Joon-ho, this is like one of his best movies. Literally one of his best. Not his actual best. His actual best is number 3, Parasite, obviously. I love Parasite. I'll admit, I was not rooting for it to win Best Picture at the Oscars that year. I was rooting for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yeah, I know, but Parasite's a fucking great movie. This movie is so good. He won Best Director, Best Picture. This movie is fucking amazing. It's a great movie about classism. It's a great dark comedy. It's a great dramatic thriller. It's a great horror movie. It's got like 8 different genres all blended into one, and it makes for just a unique experience watching Parasite. You guys you had to believe it. That's the best way to describe Parasite. All right, top 2. These 2, I think, are the best South Korean movies. Like, I don't think a lot of people can debate me on it, but everyone's like, Oldboy should be number 1 or 2, but no. Number 2 is Train to Busan. Train to Busan is one of the best zombie movies ever made. It's the best zombie movie. It's literally about this father-daughter who go on this train to go to another city, and the train gets, well, zombies. So yeah, it's a zombie apocalypse movie on a train. And that's terrifying. To me, that is horrifying. And everyone's like, what about Snowpiercer? It's a thriller. It's a sci-fi thriller on a train. And I know, like, everyone's like, where's Snowpiercer? Snowpiercer I consider more American, but I think Snowpiercer is good, but I think it's a little overrated. Train to Busan is incredible. I'm so invested with these characters. It's the characters that make this movie so good. I love the father-daughter. I love the guy he meets with his wife. They're great. The baseball player and his girlfriend. And oh my god, the stingy politician guy. You love to hate him. This movie is just, it's so gripping. And like when a character dies, you actually feel so emotion because you're so attached to them. And oh my god, the tension in this movie when they have to like climb up where your bags are and they have to like go past all the zombies and stuff. And oh my god, it's so intense. It's so great. The ending just gives you chills and it's an emotional ride you go on, and it's the best zombie movie I think almost ever made. So yeah, Train to Busan. Number 1 though, Decision to Leave. Decision to Leave is the best South Korean movie I've ever watched. The performances, amazing. Especially the lead girl. How you don't know like how twisted she really is. She is so good in this movie. I forget the actress' name, but she's so good at playing like this like very sympathetic, almost like a likable character. But then you also know there's something not quite right with her. And she's almost like sympathetic but also terrifying. And she does so good. She is literally the best in this movie. I love the main guy. I love his partner too. His partner is super funny. I love a good mystery thriller, but also a good dark romance movie. This movie has beautiful atmosphere, an amazing story, and just characters that you're fascinated with. This is the one thing South Korea is the best at, is writing good, complex, and compelling characters. And no movie shows it better than Decision to Leave. So watch Decision to Leave. It's amazing. So yeah, that was my top 10 favorite South Korean movies. So let me know in the comments below, what are your top 10 favorite South Korean movies in your guys' opinion. Comment below, let me know. And it's Lewis Flate's video. Please subscribe to the channel. Enjoy the dark side.